Hey guys, I'm back and we are playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Today we're going to be doing a League Loot stream. We're going to be checking out a viewership reward from the CDL Major 3 Finals Day. If you had your YouTube account and your Activision account linked up, you could have earned yourself a blueprint provided you watched the Finals Day live for 2 hours, and yeah, blueprint could have been earned. Unfortunately, the major is now officially over, so chance to earn this blueprint is over along with that. Whether they do a second chance or not, I have no clue. I've said this before, CDL doesn't do second chances too often. They have done it, but not super regularly or anything like that. So just keep an eye out and see if you can, if they do eventually maybe give that second chance a go. But otherwise, if you've earned it, it's in your inventory. If you haven't, it's maybe a little tough luck kind of scenario. Let's go ahead and check it out. MCW 6.8 marksman rifle, the generator blueprint. Let's play the preview animation and get a closer look. Yeah, I actually do like the way the blueprint looks. It's kind of fun and it's decent. I do wish the gears were a little bit more like animated and move and stuff like that. But I mean, it's still kind of a fun blueprint. It sort of gives me kind of like old like Call of Duty blueprint vibes where like they didn't go like ultra crazy with like the animations and stuff like that. I mean, it was more just a visual design. And as a visual design, this blueprint does kind of like appeal to me at least. But yeah, modern day COD, you know, sort of like see the store bundles and stuff like that, and you kind of think, man, it would have been nice if those gears were like more functional visually in the game, right? Maybe moved a little bit, kind of had a little bit more than just kind of an engraving look to it. But still, a cool looking blueprint in my opinion. What's up, Rogue? How you doing? Yeah, this was the Major 3 Toronto Major viewership for the finals day. Like I said, 2 hours. We'll talk about it at the end a little bit, I guess. But yeah, that's what you could have earned it. So the blueprint comes with 4 attachments. You've got 1 open slot to do with as you please. You've got the MCW Crown 30 barrel, which gives you gun kick control, aiming idle sway, bullet velocity and range, firing aim stability, at the cost of hip fire and tack stand spread, aim walking speed, movement speed, and aim down sight speed. The SL Warforged Precision Stock, aiming idle sway, firing aim stability, aim down sight speed at the cost of recoil control, movement speed, and aim down sight speed. 30 round magazine ammo capacity at the cost of aim down sight speed, or reload quickness, sprint to fire speed, and aim walking speed. And finally, the FTAC RS9 Stealth Angled Grip, tack stand spread, aiming idle sway, horizontal recoil, aim walking steadiness at the cost of vertical recoil. This is what it looks like if you decide to add a muzzle attachment or, you know, decide to change attachments. We'll go through them. Barrels. Oh, the school's over. Nice. Laser attachments. Optics. Stock. Grips. magazine attachment. And under barrels. Ammunition wouldn't change anything visually, that's why I didn't show it. So yeah, that's the blueprint the way you get it, and if you decide to change or add attachments. Here are the stats for the blueprint. Movement speeds at 4.1 m-s. This is the camo coverage. It's alright camo coverage for the base camos. Unfortunately, the stock does not take on any camo coverage, and that applies to the mastery camos too, where the stock has no camo coverage. Mastery camos take over the whole blueprint, but you do still maintain the etchings and stuff like that, or the design etchings. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, up to you how you like to look at it, but it's only the secondary portion of the mastery camo. I personally don't like it when it does this. Like, I thought it was interesting the first time I saw it, and then the more I saw it, I was like, man, this is kind of like the bad side of a blueprint when it does that with a mastery camo. Zombie stuff. Yeah, actually, the more like I look at these the camo coverage, it's kind of actually disappointing the way it's done. Like, I think there is potential to have fun with it with some of the base camos, possibly. I liked the gold camo and the mastery camos somewhat. But combination of like the stock net taking the camo coverage, sort of the limited potential for the camo coverages, because not everything's going to work out, you know. Some will, some won't. It's a little bit on the disappointing side, but not. I mean, they really should consider like fixing when like the camo coverage doesn't take over the stock. But yeah, let's jump in, try it out. Like, that tends to irritate me, like when like an entire section of the blueprint is not having camo coverage applied to it. Yeah, connections have been really bad still. So, done a couple of takes, not been too thrilled with. Actually, the first take was okay. I should just stuck with it, because like I knew this connection thing was not going to get rectified. Like, they're still dumping me into like really high ping lobbies, which I don't know why. But yeah, it's getting on my nerves playing these like really laggy connection games. Like, in the first take, I got one game that was 90 ping, but then what happened was it was stuttering a lot, like the gameplay. Like, not my connection. Pretty sure it was on the COD server side that was stuttering. Like, damn. I don't know what's going on with the connections in this game at the moment, but it's not good. Looks cool, man. I like it. Even though it doesn't have like the bells and whistles of a modern day blueprint. Wait, what was the sniper doing? Don't like the iron sights on this. It's too restrictive. That was a spawn. No, it wasn't. Oh my god, he snuck behind me, really?
We've secured the field. Mission accomplished.
Dude creep behind the car like a little... good for him. Got away with it. Good teammate. Why didn't you clean that up, man? Teammate, clean it up, man. Fucking trade that. Where did teammate go, man? Where are my shots going, dude?
Moving here. Mark the target. Moving here.
No, god damn it. Ah.
You're halfway to mission complete. Finish it. Mark the target.
Oh, that riot shield that just saved that dude.
Enemy UAV active. Cluster cluster mine detected. Enemy tactical equipment here. Moving here. Ready to deploy. Cluster UAV in the area. Copy. UAV coordinates. Recon is on. Got movement.
No, you kidding? Oh, that was close. That was actually a pretty decent game. It started off rough, but then we got like some pretty good footing. Surprised we lost it actually. I'm gonna go with gold because I just think it looks better than the other camos because of the way the coverage works. Hey.
Enemies inside the perimeter. Secure the target. Hostile vehicle overhead. UAV active. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Hostile unit in the area. Confirming next hardpoint. Right.
Hey.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure. Hostile cluster mine active. Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint. Strike near your
I couldn't see where that guy was.
enemy UAV active. Hostile UAV in the area. Hardpoint relocating. Stand by.
Jeez.
Cluster mine detected. The enemy is gaining ground.
These stuns on spawn, man. Are you fucking kidding me?
Confirming next hardpoint. Stand by. Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint.
The iron sights on this block up too much, man. Gets irritating. Oh, okay.
Enemies inside the perimeter. Friendly mosquito deployed. Enemy UAV active.
How did that not kill him?
Hostile UAV in the area. Losing ground. Hardpoint relocating. Stand by. Enemy UAV active. Hardpoint relocating. Secure the target area. Hostile UAV in the area.
Where? Oh my god, there's no one in my team there, dude. Are you kidding?
Mission compromised. We've failed.
There was only 3 of us. Our team like rage quit. Jack. No wonder. They weren't that good. Like, if we had a full squad, like, we would have been more competitive. But, I guess teammates quit. Alright. For this next build, oh well, this was the blueprint the way you get it, and with Mastery Camo. Yeah, so what I want to do with this first build is I want to do just an in addition to build, and I'm just going to be like super lazy about this in addition to build. I just want an optic on there. I actually don't mind the blueprint. It's all right, like build wise. I do think it potentially could have some changes, like maybe a different underbarrel, and possibly an ammunition would go ways if you have the right one. But personally, I just want to clean it up and get the optic on there. So yeah, in addition to build, while maintaining blueprint. I don't know why teammates quit, honestly. Like, I mean, I guess we were getting stomped, but maybe they were getting super stomped or something. You know, I was getting like killed a lot, but I'm telling you, like those guys weren't particularly that good that you needed to rage quit. I'm almost positive, like if teammates just played it like slightly different, we'd probably shat on them. It was just like they had a lot of like, they were holding the lines down while we were trying to push in and all, I guess. I'm just backing out of this. I do want to play this map, but I don't want to play like 5 for 68 already. Looks like they've fixed the connection suddenly, randomly, out of nowhere. We're definitely not playing Derail. Fuck off. I'm not even gonna like waste my time on that map. Loading into it. Actually, this gun might have been alright on Derail, but still, the map is so boring to play on. Even if you have the right weaponry, it's boring. So I was hearing like regarding X Defiant, if you want to disable crossplay on the Xbox, there's supposedly a console setting that allows you to do that. And they don't want it to be in-game, an in-game option, right? They want you to do it on the console. I've not heard of this console setting because it certainly doesn't work with the COD games, I don't think. It's not worked in the past with the COD games, which is confusing me. Hey! Okay. That did not work out the way I wanted it to. God, what a dweeb did that on us.
Hostile mosquito is online.
I mean, honestly, this...
Counter UAV ready. Solid copy. Counter UAV deployed. Enemy copy that. UAV is on station.
Hey! That was me. How did I not... Jeez, how did he not kill me at first, though? But that turn-on should have killed him, I felt. You idiot, they nerfed that.
Hostile deployed a mosquito.
Oh,
Counter UAV access to AO. Hostile mosquito is online. Hostiles deployed a mosquito.
Moving here.
Hostile UAV in the area. Under fire! Stun grenade!
no, you little shit.
This way.
Oh my god, there's someone.
Enemy UAV active. We're getting hit hard.
Got you covered. Ah, this sick.
Return to base.
I should have. I played that poorly. These guys were like really bad, actually. I mean, teammates weren't particularly good either, but these guys were like really bad. I should have like slammed them. Yeah, just an adjusted build. Wanted a clean optic. It did help a little bit. It did. I think if you were anyway, maybe we'll revisit another adjusted build. All right, for this next build, we'll try out my build when I use the MCW 6.8. This was the build I used for the camo grind. I haven't revisited this gun in a long time, so it's like a pretty dated build, I would say. Don't know how good. Probably not a meta build at all. Shadow Strike Suppressor, Tempest Predator Precision Barrel, Slate Reflector, SL Warforged Precision Stock, and then the 30 round mags. Yeah, I actually liked the blueprint, like build, minus like the iron sights. I needed that optic. I did like it, but the gun, like, yeah, you can spam the fire rate a little bit, so it's forgiving that way. But I think it should, I personally would like to see a little bit more damage output out of it to be like more in line with what I'd want from it as a weapon. But it's actually pretty decent. Like even the build, I actually kind of liked it. I did kind of like it. It's just like I'm feeling a little slow in that last game, but that enemy team were like legit goobers. I should have done way better than what I did, but it's whatever. I've been in so many Sweatfest lobbies. It was like almost like a shocker seeing like the way that team was playing. I was like, dude, I haven't seen people play this slow and goober like in a long time. But it's nice, dude. I don't want to play against sweaters, man. Freaking Sweatfest nerds. Who wants to play against that trash, dude? It's fucking not fun. Game after game after game. The ping has fixed itself. I wonder what the hell caused it for so long to be so messed. Like, I think maybe I might have been shadow banned, but I looked it up, man, and I wasn't. Like, but like that's the only explanation of being dumped into like those high ping lobbies game after game with extremely sweaty sus like players, right? I must have been shadow banned or something, dude. But for what reason, man? What the fuck did I do to like get shadow banned? I'm like a shit player, dude. Ooh, this guy is a fucking nerd.
Hostile UAV in the area. Hostile counter UAV overhead. Enemy Overwatch helo inbound. Gaining ground. Push them back.
Dude.
Friendly UAV online.
Dude, they're fucking pushing so. No!
Counter UAV advised. UAV is exiting the AO.
Our counter UAV is active. Mission failed. Return to base.
It's actually an okay build, man. It's an okay build. I think it would probably play better on a bigger map, but it's decent. Alright, for this last build, we're gonna do a guest build. And the guest build is my usual guest build that I go for. It's TheXclusiveAce's build, and this is his stealth build. He actually had a full auto build, but it used the 20 round mag conversion kit, and I didn't really want to run 20 rounds. I wanted the 30 round mag. So I decided to go with his stealth build, which is his so-called preferred way of playing this gun in semi-automatic. But he said he preferred it in full auto, so using the conversion kit to make it a full auto. That's his preferred thing. But this is his stealth build, preferred semi-automatic build. As always, I'm going to use my own optic slate reflector. He prefers the MK3 reflector, but I'm just going to stick with my optic. Warforged precision stock, 30 round mag. The SL skeletal vertical grip, and the Huntsman Series R integrated suppressor barrel. Actually, the reason I sort of also prefer this build over his full auto build is because it sort of visually goes with the way the design of the blueprint is, right? Like the barrel, even though it's like blacked out, those kind of like brown lines in between, I think it connects it enough to the like color palette of the blueprint that I'm like, all right, it sort of goes. So yeah, let's jump in and try it out. I was thinking maybe I'd put on the regular barrel and then maintain like as far as his recommendation goes, this is the better underbarrel. So maybe that's something you'd want to switch up from the blueprint. Go to the skeletal vertical grip. And also, maybe if you don't mind the iron sights, which I don't like the iron sights, I think having the optic is the wiser decision. But like in one of his other builds, he utilized this muzzle attachment for it in his semi-automatic for accuracy build. So 2 attachments based on exclusives recommendations that you might want to consider as alternate options. Oh, there's a fat packet burst.
Changing mags.
Team deathmatch. You're clear to engage any and all hostiles in the AO.
I might back out of this one. I am gonna just back out of this one. That packet burst and like the game, them being in like the losing state already. They weren't so far in the losing state, but combination of packet burst and losing game. I didn't want to sit through it. Try it. I actually like that map, Skid Row. Like it has potential for fun. But I don't want to go through a packet burst game. No, it's fucking searching at over 140 ping again, dude. Don't put me in trash again. Can't do another trashy connection game. Sick of this game putting me in trash connections. Yeah, I'm backing. I'm just backing.
Area. Team deathmatch.
I was gonna say the game's finally searching and putting me in decent connection games. Finally. And then it does that. Yeah, like I've actually been like super not interested in playing this game, mainly because of like the servers. Since the season 3 reloaded, the game's like legitimately put me off the game just because of like how bad the servers are. And I said this like in the first few takes. I did all sorts of things. I reset my modem, and then just recently they just fixed the like junction box like in my area. Like the network people just did like some servicing on the junction box and fixed that. And it did nothing to like better the connections in this game. So like I'm 90% sure like there is some server jankiness going on in this area as far as COD servers go, not my servers. Not my like connection. Which makes me not want to play the game. So yeah, there are other games that have better connections and I can enjoy running and gunning equally with better experiences. Like I don't mind an 80 ping connection. That's all right. That's fine. It would have been nicer to be less than that, but 80 is like at least like playable. As long as you get that on the regular. I think that should be like the cutoff, man, honestly. Anything more than that is like, they should be asking your permission. Like, do you want to play this game? It's going to be pretty bad. It's like that. Like, don't even put you in the game. Like, just ask your permission first. Like, yeah, the connection's going to be bad on this one. So yeah, probably don't want to play that then.
Copy that. UAV online and orbiting the AO.
UAV ready. Friendly UAV on station.
UAV is bingo fuel. RTB at this time.
Eh.
Solid copy. UAV
That is a really good build.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Teammate, you just let that dude walk past you, man.
Friendly mosquito active. UAV ready to deploy. UAV standing by.
copy. Counter
Friendly cluster mine planted.
UAV is bingo.
Solid copy. 1031 on station. Scanning the mark.
Pulling up the reef.
This is a really good build. Okay. Aye.
UAV active. Friendly UAV on station. Mission time is half complete. Standing by.
Moving here.
Friendly UAV online. Friendly VTOL inbound.
Oi.
Our chopper gunner is inbound hard. Momentum guard. Keep pushing them back.
This is a really good build. This is way better than my build.
Mission is complete. Good work.
I'll save it. I'm gonna save it. It's really good. Like I felt my build needed a little bit of range, so you don't be so aggressive. This one, like, it felt reasonably aggressive a build and viable at closer ranges. Not ultra close, but closer. Yeah, exclusives, a stealth build. It looks good on the blueprint and it plays really well. So yeah, well worth it. I'll link his channel in the description so you guys can find him if you don't know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he does gun guides and breakdowns of weaponry, attachments, and builds for multiplayer. And he does like testing for the guns and stuff, like to like make sure the stats and builds work out well. So a little more in depth than the usual pub stomper, loadout, best loadout builds and all. This guy does his research and stuff like that. It's worth it. And on top of that, he also keeps track of all the like new aftermarket parts and like the new attachments you get. And he kind of updates some of his builds, like with the new stuff. So it's worth following him if you're into like at least being aware of what's good and what works out well. Dude, why is this so far in the corner? I'm just curious. Is this like a... 1 minute, I just want to back out. No. Now will this center that better? No, it doesn't. MCW 6.8 generator blueprint. It's pretty nice. It's actually a decent build. Like, I actually kind of was digging the gun. I was kind of digging the gun. Like I said, I think my biggest issue with the gun was like its damage output is a little bit under what I would want from it. But it's still a pretty good gun, man. And like this build wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. I do think... I don't know, man. Some people like iron sights and all. Like the iron sights is kind of a like subjective thing, right? So I guess like some people like certain iron sights while other people don't. I didn't really like these iron sights, so for sure the extra attachment that I'd want would be an optic on it. But yeah, visually it's kind of a fun design. What this reminds me of as a blueprint is a more realistic expectation of a fun weapon, right? Like if you were to buy like a kind of like gun in real world, this is the more realistic way of like kind of jazzing it up, into this kind of like fancy design where you kind of have like a little metal plate that is designed to look like gears, right? But it's not real gears. And the other like kind of like design elements to like the stock and the grip and all that, right? So as far as that goes, it's a little bit more grounded in reality as far as like, I mean, still like, I think people who design their guns like this are probably just more of a showpiece weapon anyway, not a real, like, I don't think they'd want to take that really into the battlefield or anything like that, right? But I think there is grounded in reality to the design of it. That being said, though, as I mentioned, like with the current kind of like blueprints that you see in the like store and stuff like that, the bells and whistles that you see that are in the modern like blueprint design, the gears looking more like real gears, right? And maybe even having some motion to it or something like that would have definitely been something I'd have expected from the blueprint, right? I'm not against this. I actually really like the design and I like the color palette and stuff like that. Probably would utilize this, like I'll save like exclusives build with the design on it, right? On the blueprint. But yeah, I think just when you're in a game, like that realism factor, it's like, dude, it's okay. You can throw that shit out of the window and go with the like kind of like out there, kind of like the gun has gears in it or something like that. It'd been funner, right? But yeah, it's still a cool design and stuff like that. I like it. Camo coverage, I think the big disappointment is the stock doesn't get the camo coverage. It's like, dude, this is like, I think the third blueprint. I don't know, man. I don't remember clearly. But a lot of the league loot, like the viewership reward, CDL viewership reward blueprints that we've been getting, has at least like one attachment that just for some reason does get no camo coverage. Like it's forgotten completely. And unfortunately in this one, it's the stock. I guess the fortunate thing about the stock not getting camo coverage is like you don't really see the stock like when you're kind of running around with it. It's more the front portion. So you can definitely mess around with the camo coverage as far as that goes with the base camos. And I think the mastery camo, again, I don't like having like the mastery camo. Like when it takes over the whole blueprint, that's a disappointment. And when it's like the secondary portion of the mastery camo, sometimes that looks cool, right? But especially when it takes over the whole blueprint and it's just the secondary portion, it looks pretty bad in my opinion. Like, had they gone like the base camo coverage, kind of design camo coverage, and then have the regular primary portion of the mastery camos, that would have been fun. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this, the way it looks. Like I said, it was fun the first time I saw it. Now I just don't like it. Would have preferred like the main camo to take over like the top portions of the like weapon, like this one is, right? So you can see like secondary portion is the top, like the metal, right? And then there's like primary portions on the little bits and pieces. I might have wanted the inverse. Like, I might want the top portion to be the primary portion, so the brown sections to be the primary portion, and then the like design on the like grip and on like the front portion of the barrel. I would have preferred that to be the secondary portion. I think that would have been more interesting as far as design element goes with the mastery camos. Build-wise, as I mentioned, it's actually not a bad build. It's not that bad a build. I mean, especially after like using exclusives build, I do think maybe that skeletal like underbarrel might be something you want to consider swapping out, even though you're gonna lose that kind of cool looking brown stealth angled grip. But maybe some like, I kind of wanted to try out exclusives build minus his barrel. I wanted to go with like the skeletal and an optic. I wanted to do that as like an adjusted build for this blueprint and just see how it played out, because I suspect it'd be a decent build that way if you just go with those two adjustments, right? But I'm actually pleasantly glad. I'm glad I went with exclusives build because it was pretty good. I'm done for the day, man. Goat. I'm done. TJ the goat. Nah, I'm done for the day, man. It's late for me. I'm calling it here. Maybe another day. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think the blueprint is fun. It's not horrible. Design is okay. Like, I think it's better than okay. I actually like it. Like I said, I just think, modern day blueprint, Call of Duty blueprints, maybe take it to the next level. But still fun. Still fun. Build was okay. Gun is not a horrible gun either. Actually, like, to my surprise, like the MCW 6.8 is not as bad as I remembered it being. Like, it's okay. Yeah, it's a nice reward for just watching the CDL major and earning some fun stuff, right? There's a pretty decent like little reward that you can get for yourself. So yeah, definitely glad also like the connection smoothed out by the end of it. I've been super frustrated with the game. Like, it's gotten to the point where like I don't want to play the game because I was getting dumped into such hyping lobbies and all. Like, whatever caused that, if it was a shadow ban, that's so fucking stupid. This game really needs to like fix their shadow ban system, because that should not be happening to like. Dude, I don't cheat, man. Fucking, I'm on the console the whole time. I play on the console. There's zero chance I've got anything that is going to be cheating the system. So why would I ever get shadow banned, right? And like I said, I looked that up. It wasn't a shadow ban. Normally they say if you are, right, on the like ban appeal bullshit. So I looked that up. It wasn't mentioned there. So my guess is it's just shitty COD servers that for some reason just miraculously sorted itself out for the last few games, which I'm grateful for. But whatever the case is, it's just an awful experience playing the game like that, right? And I think most people don't even like keep the like little widget, the like ping widget on their screen. So most people wouldn't even realize it's such a bad ping, right? That's causing them to have such a bad experience. I keep it there because I know how COD is, right? I'm like, dude, this game's always throwing you into such rubbish garbage, right? But yeah, I guess whatever. Grateful it got sorted out, because I was this close to like just dumping this game aside and just playing it bare minimum. If the connections have sorted out now, then I'll be back to playing it on the regular, come more content. I mean, it's sort of convenient, like when like the last few days where the connections went really bad, I had already sort of finished everything I wanted to finish for season 3, coverage-wise. Well, at least up to this point. I think next week when like the weekly challenge stuff comes out, I want to check out that camo and stuff and earn that camo, and also I will be playing a little bit for that, right? But for the most part, I was done. So like I had no issue like jumping into other games and playing it. But yeah, I was like, in my head, I was like, man, I do not want to play season 4 if this is what's going to be like. So hopefully the connection fix is more permanent at least. Pishpesh, what are you going on about, man? 1 minute, Pishpesh. She might be outside. Hang on. Yeah, let me just let her in. I think she might be locked outside or something. Is that what's up? What's happening? Pishpesh, you're an ass. Why are you outside, man? Come on. Come on, come on. Go inside, Pishpesh. Wasting my time, Pishpesh. Go on, go do something. Ass. She was sitting on the balcony. I'd close the door because I don't want mosquitoes and stuff to come in. I think she sleeps on top of the AC, so sometimes I don't see she's outside. But it's a safe place. It wasn't like it was bad. She just wanted to come inside. Pish pish. This is so. My little pishy pishy. Oh, pish pish, don't knock out. You okay, pish pish? Pish pish is like, hey man, I was fucking locked outside, man. There's bullshit. Alright, so I guess we'll talk a little bit about the major. Like, I'm gonna be like very clear about the major. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it, man, honestly, man. I watched bits and pieces. I kind of played the finals in the background in the morning. But what happened was, like, my internet went down yesterday, like, during the finals day. Like, it went down all night and all morning today. So the only way I was able to, like, utilize the internet was through my mobile data plan. I used it as a hotspot kind of thing and kind of connected it to it that way. That way I earned my, like, drops by playing the stream on that. But for the most part, my main internet was down. But to be fair, I probably could have just used it as a hotspot and watched it on my TV and stuff like that. I just wasn't interested. I'm going to be real. The games were actually excellent. The finals day games were actually excellent. It's just like I said in the beginning, I mean, like at the end of that outro was like, man, I have been having a miserable experience in the game because the servers were so bad for the last several days since the Reloaded update, right? It's just been a bad experience. So I've just not been super interested in the game. So yeah, it didn't matter pro scene or whatever. I just didn't want to watch it. That's all it was. But I did tune in every now and then and stuff like that. And I did watch the finals in the end. So spoilers, Optic finally won. They finally got a dub in one of their majors, one of these majors. It's been a while since they got it. Cutlet, don't start. No Cutlet. I'm glad they got the dub. Like they've got a really good team. So they've sort of like been expected to be a top contender, and it's been like a bit of like, if you're an Optic fan, I think it's been a bit of like a waiting game. Like, man, when are they gonna fucking finally seal the deal as far as the major victory goes, right? And they did it this time, and did it in quite dominant fashion for the most part. Okay, so I think they played Toronto Ultra in the winners, like kind of semi-final sort of thing or whatever. I don't know what the definition of that point was. But they played Toronto Ultra, lost to them, got put in the losers kind of like, again, this is a little further along the bracket. So it's not like the beginning of the tournament, but like mid-tournament. So they got put in the losers bracket for the finals day. And they went up against the New York Subliners. and just I watched it partially a little bit, tuned in here and there. It looked like they were slamming New York. Like New York's been a bit of a disappointment as far as the top tier teams go. They're like the one that's been underperforming the most as far as the top four go. And Optic played all all the four top teams this major. So it wasn't like they snuck through to the like grand finals by just playing a couple of the good teams. They played all four of them. So New York Sublime first lost to Toronto, got into the losers bracket, beat New York Sublimes. Then Toronto and FaZe were in the winners finals, right? The winners finals thing. FaZe lost to Toronto and got dumped into the losers. So Optic went against FaZe. I did not watch that. I sort of do. I'll probably watch that maybe today or tomorrow morning or something like that. Keen on seeing what went down on the FaZe game. But that seemed to be like a tight game. It was like a 3-2 victory. So clearly like there was some fight back between both teams, right? But yeah, Optic pulled through, beat FaZe in the losers finals, putting them back into the winners grand finals. So a rematch against Toronto Ultra and Optic in this major kind of rematch. And yeah, Optic just slammed Toronto, like 4 with them in the grand finals. So yeah, props to Optic on that, proper, finally like showcasing the talent that is that team. And yeah, that's sort of what went down. Again, I'm being brief about it because I honestly only watched bits and pieces of it, and not like didn't get super invested into it. As far as I know, like Optic won and Shotzi was the MVP, and Shotzi's been playing lights out like throughout this whole this year, or like he's a top tier player, but like he's been pretty good this whole year. So him in the major being like MVP means he must have really gone off in a good way. So if you're into like that kind of like movement gameplay stuff, I'd wager like a lot of the games are probably showcasing Shotzi like doing some pretty stellar stuff. So yeah, Shotzi MVP, Optic victorious finally in the major. And now we are going to be moving on to Major 4, which is the Major 4, there's like some controversy already. Like the team that was supposed to host it decided not to do the like tournament, like they couldn't do it, so they canceled. So it's going to be a LAN game, but not in front of a crowd. So Major 4 is going to be like a private kind of major as far as the like final tournaments go, like final like on the LAN matches, final LAN matches. Man, I say on and then LAN, and when I like watch that stuff back, I always am like, oh my god, this sounds like online kind of thing because it sounds so similar. But the LAN matches are going to be like in a private studio, I guess, or something like that. And there's not going to be a crowd for Major 4. And then after Major 4, they go into the championship. So just 2 things away. Hopefully Optic can keep up the momentum and still be like, they're going to be still a top tier team, right? But the one warning I can give you as far as an Optic viewer goes is Optic has a tendency of at least winning one of the majors and then just kind of like done and dusted. Like that was good enough. And then they sort of like fumble the rest, right? So it doesn't like this time it's like this major they've won it, and hopefully that kind of carries forward to the 4th major and then the championship in some form of like thing. But they have a tendency of winning a major and then thinking they're like god tier and get complacent and stuff like that, and then other teams sort of just outplay them and make a fool of them because they thought too highly of themselves simply because they just won one major. That being said, though, like I said, this team is actually a top tier team, like a stellar like lineup. So fingers crossed that does not happen this year around, and they do actually carry the momentum into the next major and the championships, however that plays out, right? And yeah, I mean, the major was basically the top four teams are the top four teams. It's FaZe, Toronto Ultra, Optic, and New York Subliners. Out of the four, Toronto, FaZe, and Optic have all won a major now. New York's been underperforming several times over, so like it's been questionable how whether New York will be able to do anything special between now and the end. But they're still the top tier. They're still a top tier, top four team, right? The lower bracket, as far as like score goes and all, I'm not really been following it too closely, but it is actually a lot closer on the lower bracket who will be like who will get enough score to make it into the championship. So basically in the championship, I think there's only the top 8 teams play the like world championship at the end, right? And it's basically the score accumulated between the preliminary rounds and the majors that are totaled up, and the teams with the highest score, the top 8 teams with the highest score, carried to the championship. I think that's how it goes, right? So yeah, I think the bigger battle is who will be the bottom teams that will make it to the championship. That's where the like fight is going as far as score goes. But because the top 4 teams, like I said, Optic, FaZe, New York, and Toronto, they've sort of sealed the deal score-wise enough to like guarantee themselves a position in the championship major, like the final championship games. So yeah, this next 4th major will mainly determine the bottom 4 teams that make it into the top 8, right? Which are those. And in all honesty, the bottom teams, like it's sort of like boring to watch. I think the biggest issue with the format currently in COD, and I mean, this is partially, I think, at fault. I think the other partial, like I said, for me personally, I tuned out of this major because like I was just not enjoying the game. Because, like I said, the server connections after the Season 3 Reloaded have just been awful. So I've not personally been enjoying the experience playing the game up to this point. So I just didn't really care to watch it either. But the other factor that I feel that might be sort of deterring the like experience as a viewer in these majors is they've sort of spread out the preliminary rounds to like almost 5 weeks or something like that. And every week there's just a few games that are played, and it sort of feels meaningless watching those games because one, there's only a few of them, and 2, it's online, and you know, it drags on. It feels like it's dragging on for so long before the major actually kicks off. So by the time you get to the major, it's like you're sort of already burnt out with this experience. I think that's been the biggest fall off as far as viewership for me goes. Like I'm not interested in the preliminary rounds. I only keep it playing in the background so I can earn, like, they do drops for it, and it's usually just XP token drops. So sometimes I just keep it playing in the background on like my tablet just to earn the drops while I'm awake, and then I turn it off. I don't leave it on all night to get maximized drops or anything like that. It's like that, right? It's like, yeah, I'll just keep it in the background playing so I can earn those like XP tokens. But really not interested in watching it because of how long it drags out. And then, like I said, the major happened, and even though the finals day was as exciting as it was, stellar games, like stellar teams going head to head, and the matches were, like, from what I understand, very good to watch, very exciting. And I probably will go back and watch them. Like I said, for the most part, it was my internet going down. But on the other hand, I probably wouldn't have watched all of it. Yeah, the format is ass. Like they're trying to like maximize viewership and the revenue coming in from the pro scene, and it's diluting like the experience because it's just every week, and it's like, oh, this is not even that exciting. And when it should be exciting, you're sort of like burnt out from the experience, right? I would far rather a very short tournament that has all the preliminary rounds back to back to back to back, and then the majors on the weekend, like the major like matches, like the bracket play through the weekend, and just have it stacked together, and ideally on the LAN experience, not online. just have everything like that, right? Condensed. So like the majors actually feel like an event, like even the preliminary rounds and stuff. I might not watch the preliminary rounds, but that's why it's being played out during the week leading up to the weekend. That'll have the like big dogs and the big games go down. I think that'd be like the wiser way to make it feel special and just be worthy of watching a little bit more so. This dragged out 5-week preliminary rounds is just such a waste of time, and online is even more so, like just another like joke of a scene. But yeah, whatever. I think that won't change until next year. If it does or doesn't, I don't know how it'll play out. For me, like the pro scene, right? It shouldn't be like something where you're expecting to like profit off it massively, right? It should be more of a thing where, yeah, you should hope to break even financially by throwing the major, like you know, like doing that. But more than that, it should be a way to promote the game, like, and bring in that audience, not only interested in what the pros are doing, but drive that interest into the game, so it pushes the players back into the game and gets them excited to play the game and stuff like that, which I just feel it's not doing at the moment, right? The pro scene does not get me excited to play the game. You know, it's like that, right? I mean, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Like, I think you watch the pros and you get inspired, like, oh, maybe I could land up in that kind of scene, right? I could be that good. And that encourages you to keep playing the game or trying to jump into the game and stuff like that. Where right now it's just like feels so stale, and like the pro scene doesn't feel like it's accessible to a lot of people. It feels like it's locked into this like weird system and all. It has a lot to do with like also like, you know, the league, the way it, like the buy-ins and all that stuff that went down in the early years of the CDL. Fortunately, that stuff looks like it's over with. Like Microsoft has stopped that buy-in stuff and all that, and refunding the teams as far as that goes and all. So there is potential for future, but yeah, in my eyes, the pro scene should be that thing that shouldn't be like earning you tons of money, but should be sort of like that kind of like almost advertisement for your game to encourage you to jump into the game and want to like strive to be there and do that, right? And get to that level. And there should be avenues for people to eventually reach that level if they have that skill and stuff like that, where they can compete. You know, I think that's why like things like the, what's it called? The challenger scene and all, it's important, right? Because that's kind of like an avenue that can lead you to this thing, right? But right now it feels like it's such a mess. It feels dragged out. It feels diluted. It feels all these things that like are kind of like not where it should be. And it's like, yeah, as a viewer, I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about that. I don't watch the pro scene to be inspired to like become a pro. But I do watch the pro scene and hope to be like inspired to want to keep playing the game and still like find it fun, right? I see them playing it and enjoying it and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and I want to do it in the game, right? That's not necessarily happening at the moment for me with the CDL this year. Even when I see them do crazy stuff, it's like, yeah, whatever, man. I don't want to do that. I mean, maybe it's also got to do with, like I said, this particular major, the servers for me have just been really bad, and it's made me not care about the game as much. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just rambling, honestly. I think most people understand the like fundamentals of like a tournament and how it should theoretically work. Like, okay, here's the one thing. This is what I'm gonna like put out, okay? The concept of like having the preliminary rounds drag out the way they do and then lead up to the major is supposed to encourage longer viewership over the stretch leading up to the major. Because if it's just a major, they can't do it every month, right? It'll be like once every 3 or 4 months or something like that, right? It's like that, right? So that in between time where there's no preliminary rounds going on, that's viewership lost according to their heads, right? But that's not the way it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work is the majors are supposed to be the big tournaments, yeah, the big headliner tournaments where there's a lot of money involved, and like I said, should be condensed so it's like one big special event. And then the stuff leading up to the tournament should be just smaller tournaments, not necessarily preliminary rounds that tie into that, but just kind of like more community driven or like pro scene driven, and like, you know, like these kind of small, like, you know, little exciting things that kind of like keep that scene active leading up to that. But the actual major should be a condensed, fun tournament to watch from beginning to end that doesn't burn you out because it's dragging out so long, right? Like when you watch a sports tournament, it's not like 1 week you have this, 1 week you have this, 1 week. Like the tournament is condensed enough, like so it ends in a pretty reasonable time where there's games going on almost regularly leading up to the end, right? Whereas at the moment it feels like the weekend, there's a few matches, then there's a break, and then the weekend happens again, and it's not well played out, is my point. I would far rather like 1 or 2 week maximum, whether like 1 week ideally, man. Just play all the preliminary rounds, like I said, during the weekdays, and then come the weekend, that's when all the big matches start kicking off for the tournament bracket, and that's it. And then anything before that is sort of like community driven, like tournaments and activities that are still driving the viewership interest forward. And it's not necessarily tied to the major as far as points go and this, that, and the other. Only the majors are the majors, and like the preliminary rounds tightly packed together. That's all one condensed activity. Anything aside from that, leading up to that, is just its own separate little activities to keep like interest in the game. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel special. Anyway, that's it. Congratulations, Optic. Hope you guys keep up the momentum. Like I said, FaZe, pick yourselves up. You're still a solid team. Toronto Ultra, also a solid team. New York Sublimers, maybe consider some readjustments. New York's a good team, man. I like Hydra a lot. He's like a top tier player, but he's been sort of carrying New York this year, like on his shoulders a little too much. Like, and the other players are like not performing to the point where, like, you know, I mean, New York's wins tend to be like when Hydra like carries them heavily. It's not like when the other players are playing particularly well or anything like that. But New York maybe needs a little bit of work as far as that goes. Small props to Miami Heretics. They actually performed pretty decently finally this major. They've been doing pretty badly the previous majors. They got a new player. I think his name's Real or whatever. Dude, actually, like, I did watch one of the Miami Heretic matches, and Real, like, that new player at least, I think his name's Real, I'm not sure. He was actually very impressive a player to watch as a POV. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, watching him play. Like I said, I'll go back and watch the games. I'm sure there's, like, really top-tier, like, gameplay going on. Like I said, that final day was excellent. It's just, you know. And the blueprint was nice, and there will be new viewership rewards come Major 4, I'm sure, and definitely during the championship. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the CDL webpage in the description. You guys can go ahead and check that out, and there's a viewership reward tab that they update once the new like rewards go live, or like or when they announce the new rewards at least. So you have like several weeks before it's active. So that is generally the best place to see what the upcoming viewership rewards are, the CDL webpage. I'm not sponsored by the CDL or anything like that. I just, for the most part, enjoy the scene like as a viewer. And always, I enjoy earning me my free rewards and viewership rewards and stuff like that. So that is also a bonus, taking part in the CDL scene as a viewer. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out my old streams if you haven't already, and I will catch you later. Bye. Yeah, at least the final few games connection sort of smoothed out and I was able to do something decent, I guess.